Let's return and remember. We want to remember someone very important, but it's not enough that we remember that they exist. That's not the type of remembering that we're looking for. We're looking for a much deeper remembering. We're looking for a remembering where we can feel the one we remember. We can feel them so much that we are them. And the one we want to remember is the one that we always were and we always will be, before all the events of life got us busy. No events, no stories, nothing yet happened. And there's someone, that's someone. We want to remember them, but not just remember them. We want to remember them until we become them. Because we are them. Everything else is a story, is an illusion, is something that happened to them. It's not them. And so we want to remember them, not what happened to them. We want to remember the one, not what happened to the one. What happened, we will think about later. Now, we want to remember the one himself, not just remember that he exists. Remember how it feels to be him. In order to remember, we have to release any type of resistance, any type of agenda that we might have about the story. As long as we are busy with the story, whatever parts of us are busy with the story, they cannot remember him. They can only remember the story. They're not available to him. He cannot dwell in those cells because those cells are holding on to the story. They're not available to him. And so in order to remember, we have to release. To release means to return to what was before. The body has a certain flow, the body has a certain way about itself. And then something changed. Something got constricted or something got tense. And then the body is no longer flowing the way that it used to flow. That means that that one that we're trying to feel like cannot feel like himself because he doesn't have full access to his own body. If we want to return to the one, we have to completely release everything that we are holding in our body. And everything that we're holding in our minds, we are also holding in our body. Our mind is based on the imagination. The imagination is the operating system of the mind. And so, everything that happens in the mind happens in the physical body. The organs are processing the information. This is the wonder of the one and the way that he dwells within his subjects. And so the more we can release the body, the more the body can be completely uninvolved in what's taking place in the mind, the more the mind is available to the one. If the body is keeping the mind available, then the one cannot dwell within his own organs. If the body is tense or the body is busy, then the soul cannot enter. And so to remember is to release. To remember is to know that whatever happens is not identity. It's not who you are. It doesn't define you. It's a demonstration of your attributes. And your attributes can always be refined. Whatever happens, whatever it is that we create, in thought, in speech, or in action, is simply a demonstration of the attributes of the Creator and how we are expressing them. These are His attributes that are the nature of our soul. But each one of us is interpreting His attributes based on their own understandings or misunderstandings. And then the attributes come out. The thought, the speech, and the action are a demonstration of attributes. They're not identity. And so we want to observe our expressions in order to improve our attributes, in order to see where are we manifesting wrong and causing damage. But the events do not give us identity. The one is our identity, the one that we were, that we all are. That one, He is the identity because He is the nature, He is the truth. We all have Him as our core. From there we come forth, each one with their own interpretation. If we didn't have Him in our core, we wouldn't understand each other. It's Him. That's why the language works. I can create spirit, your spirit can interpret, because it's Him. But what it means to me, it doesn't mean to you, because both of us have forgotten Him. Both of us are not at the core from where He comes forth, where only the Holy Tongue and only the Holy Spirit can have access. And holy means aligned with the divine wisdom, aligned with the way reality really works. Not a theory and not a story, and definitely not an event, but an intelligence, a truth that is the cause of why things are the way that they are. The one we are remembering has no problems, because He was before the problems, and He doesn't change. The problems try to get His attention. They want something from Him, but He doesn't need anything from them. They are part of the story. The story is filled with problems. This is how the story continues. Once there will be no story, there will be no problems. Today, everything is a story. In the story live all the problems. When we inherit the story, we inherit all the problems that came with the story. Before the story, there were no problems. And so the soul is before the problems. The soul is not resolved by figuring out the problems. The soul returns to where it always is. That's the only place it can ever be. We can fall under a spell. We can go into an illusion. And then we take the story into the Holy of Holies. We contaminate it with a story. We contaminate our soul with a story. The soul is above all stories. The soul was before the story. The soul will remain after the story. And while the story is happening, the soul is not burdened by the story within its nature. We can do that because the soul is within the body. And so if the body is carrying the story in a heavy way, then the soul suffers. The soul has less body to dwell in. Then the soul cannot return to dwell in its own nature, to know itself, to remember how it feels to be it.